Welcome to the April 3rd, 2024 City Council meeting. If you will please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Sotto.
Here.
Councilmember Weshy.
Here.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Here.
Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Hine.
Here.
Councilmember Luther.
Here.
Councilmember Norris.
Here.
Councilmember Hood.
Here.
We have all 8 council members present. Next item on the agenda is the agenda approval. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Agenda approval motion by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Sotto.
Weshy.
Weshing. Any changes? Deletions? Councilmember Grimmer.
With the council's approval, my co-counsel is having difficulty tonight, right on the edge with her voice, and has asked me to do her 3 readings tonight. So with the consideration of council, I would like to go ahead and read Mrs. Patel's announcements tonight.
Second. If we needed to. Because I gotta do that.
Okay, is that a motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know if I have to move or that, but I'm just
Yeah.
announcing I will do her readings.
Okay. Motion is made by Councilmember Grimmer to read the ordinances that are up for reading by Councilmember Patel, seconded by Councilmember Sotto. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Councilmember Hood.
Yes, I noticed that we have a memo from Mr. Kane to remove Bill 6410 from the agenda. I'd like to make that motion.
Second.
The motion is to remove bill number 6410 from the agenda. Motion made by Councilmember Hood, seconded by Councilmember Norris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The change takes place. Any other changes? All in favor of the approved agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The agenda stands as amended. Next item on the agenda are public comments. And it looks like we have one this evening. Mrs. Jessica Perkins, please come forward. State your name and address to the city clerk.
Thank you. My name is Jessica Perkins. I reside at 3442 Ermine Avenue. Good evening. I would like to express my immense appreciation and thanks to Bridgeton staff, the City Council, and especially to the 800-plus residents who voted favorably to update our charter for the 21st century. Even with the slimmest of margins for Proposition A, B, and D, we are moving in the direction envisioned by most of this council and the late Mayor Briggs. Again, thank you for your continued support. But as you know, we still have more work to do. Until last night, I did not know that another St. Louis municipality was conducting a charter review and revision process at the same time as Bridgeton. That municipality was Webster Groves. Its charter was adopted in 1954 and amended for the first time in 2002, followed by the current review. The Webster Groves Charter Commission recommended 30 revisions, and 10 of them appeared on the ballot yesterday. All 10 passed, with margins ranging from 9% to 79%. For all 10 amendments collectively, the average margin was nearly 58%. So I'm saying that 6 out of 10 residents who voted favorably to change portions of their charter. The amendment with the lowest margin was, you guessed it, removing the municipal judge residency requirement. It passed, but by only a 9% differential. After seeing the ballot success, I decided to compare and contrast their review and revision process, as well as the demographics and economics. While our processes were very similar, Webster Groves seems to have conducted more deliberate resident engagement through focus group surveys and open houses. Even with the age and gender distribution being almost the same, engagement may have been more difficult for them because their population is twice as large as ours. And looking back, there is no doubt in my mind that Bridgeton's informational town hall that was held on Monday, March 18th, was valuable to our residents. Engagement works, not necessarily to change minds, but for informed decision-making. For future amendments, I hope the staff and the council will consider being more proactive as we inform people about other charter revisions. Also, after seeing that Webster Groves presented 10 propositions, maybe we might be able to push a few more through. Thanks very much for your time. Take care.
Thank you, Ms. Perkins, and thank you for your research and bringing the information forward. Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Wessie. All in favor, or any changes of the minutes? None? All in favor of the minutes? Please say aye.
Aye.
Any changes, any nays? I see none. The approval of the minutes for March 20th stands. Next item on the agenda, we don't have any appointments, presentations, proclamations, announcements, or public hearings. Next item is consideration of resolutions. We have none. Next item on the agenda, we're going to recess for a public hearing. Number 24PZ-03, request to amend B5 Planned Commercial District. Mr. Greatens.
Thank you. So application 24-PZ-03, this is a zoning text amendment application. The request is to amend the B5R Planned Commercial District regulations, with the request being to allow long-term care facility with associated independent senior 55 and over living units as a permitted use. The applicant has stated in their application that they're proposing the renovation of the two-story building located at 11380 Natural Bridge Road if this text amendment were to be approved. This item went to the Planning Commission at their March 11th meeting for a public hearing. The Planning Commission recommended approval by a vote of 10-0. The property we're talking about, the B5R district, it includes two parcels of land, 11370 Natural Bridge Road and 11380 Natural Bridge Road. This includes the 11-story building that's in the northern parcel of the two that are highlighted, and then the two-story building to the south. The property is surrounded by industrial light manufacturing land use to the east and north. That's the Hunter Engineering Campus. And then to the south and west, you have MoDOT right-of-way with Interstate 70 and Lindbergh Boulevard. On the other side of Lindbergh Boulevard, Leonardo DRS, along with some vacant parcels of land and further west residential. This shows the zoning of the area. As stated, the B5R district, it's a planned commercial district. The Hunter Engineering Campus is in a planned manufacturing district, zone M3T. The property to the south, Interstate 70, M1, and then to the west, there's an additional planned commercial district, the B5V district, with some residential and B3 zoning as well on the other side of Lindbergh. A little bit of information about the zoning district itself. So the B5R district, this was established in 2013 when the parcels were rezoned from B3 to this district. It includes 4.4 acres on two parcels of land. As I mentioned before, there's an 11-story building as well as a two-story building. Formerly used as a hotel, they're currently vacant and have been for several years. The B5R district, it permits lodging establishments and offices and restaurants as permitted uses. Currently, the only special use listed is multifamily dwellings. There was a special use permit submitted several years ago to renovate the 11-story building for multifamily dwellings. However, that project never commenced. The purpose of the B5 planned commercial districts as stated in the zoning ordinance is to permit uses which provide, that's the purpose of the B2 district. Generally, the B5 planned commercial districts are to allow flexibility in development and where appropriate in the city. I've got a little bit of information here about long-term care facilities. As stated, the applicant is requesting to add long-term care facility as a permitted use along with independent senior living apartments. Our zoning ordinance defines long-term care facilities as facilities licensed either solely or in combination as a skilled nursing facility, intermediate care facility, residential care facility, or assisted living facility. Our definitions in the ordinance reflect almost verbatim how these are defined by the state of Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. Regarding these types of uses in other parts of the city and other zoning districts, skilled nursing, intermediate care, residential care, and assisted living facilities are permitted in certain M3 districts by right, and then with special use permit in the B2 and B3 districts. So they're addressed in both ways, permitted by right and also with special use permit, depending on the situation. One note also, these types of facilities are licensed and regulated by the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services. So here's the requested change that the applicant has proposed, again, to add long-term care facility with independent senior living units that are associated with such long-term care facility. And also as part of their request, as I mentioned, multifamily dwelling is allowed as a special use. They also propose to exclude independent senior living facility as long as it's associated with a long-term care facility. What that means is that your typical multifamily proposal would still require a special use permit if it's not associated with a long-term care facility. I do have some pictures of the property. Again, on the left-hand side is the 11-story building, and you can kind of see there to the, sort of right in the middle of that image, the 2-story building. It's actually a combination of 4 buildings, and I'll show that on the map that I had up earlier. So behind where it says B5R, there's 4 different buildings you can see along with a parking structure. I didn't mention that before. There is a parking structure as well. That's a summary of the request. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions from council? Councilmember Hood?
Which 2-story building are they gonna take?
So the request is to add this as a permitted use, but they stated in their application material that if this were to be approved, their intent would be to redevelop all 4 of the 2-story buildings for use as a long-term care facility.
Thank you.
Councilmember Norris?
Mr. Greiton, do they have any plans for the tower?
They mentioned that would be a later phase at this point,
All right.
not in the immediate early phase.
Thank you.
Councilmember Luther?
Yeah, maybe I just missed it here. How many residents would this proposed facility accommodate?
I think that would yet to be determined. That's through a combination of review for building code conformance, fire code, as well as the state licensing.
Right.
So that's to be determined.
Right, because they have to submit a certificate of need, I think, and some other things. Yeah.
I believe so, and the applicant would maybe be able to answer that better.
And can I ask another question? So is the applicant purchasing the building?
So the applicant already owns the property.
Okay.
Yes. The applicant's attorney applied on their behalf.
Okay,
The property owner's attorney, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Did you have another question?
No,
No, okay. Any other council members have questions? I see none.
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Washing?
Just to make sure I'm understanding correctly, this is just to amend what the zoning allows. This is not actually voting on the special use permit or anything to that end. We're just right now doing the pre-work to be able to move to the special use permit later on. Correct?
No,
Or-
the applicant is requesting to add the land use as a permitted use by right,
Okay.
which would mean if approved, they could go straight to filing permits. It would not come back through a special use permit if approved in this manner.
Okay, thank you. Oh, actually, can I have a follow-up real quick?
Yes,
Do we have any other B5R in St. Louis, or is this the only place it would affect?
This is the only B5R.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Luther?
Okay, one last question. Does the applicant own and operate any other facilities like this?
They do, and they might be able to speak to that a little bit more than I would. They did mention, there was, I think, a couple mentioned in, if it wasn't in the packet, it might have been in the minutes
Okay.
from the planning
Thank you.
commission as well.
Thank
But there are a couple facilities they operate,
Thank you.
which did make me think one more thing that was discussed at the planning commission briefly. Access to this site is provided out to Natural Bridge through a cross-access easement across Hunter Engineering's property. Just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, here it is, right here.
Any other questions from council? I see none. Thank you, Mr. Greatens. Would the petitioner like to come forward? Please state your name and address to the city clerk.
My name is Kelly Rock, and our offices are at 120 South Central in Clayton, Suite 1600.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm here on behalf of the owners of the property to request the rezoning so they can redevelop the two-story building into an assisted living facility. I believe Zach covered most of our plans. Just to answer one of the questions that did come up, they're looking at a total number of units of 146, but that will obviously depend on any approvals for permitting and then through Missouri Health and Senior Services.
Questions of council. Councilmember Norris?
So you're requesting mostly assisted living, not independent senior?
Yes, it's
And
mostly assisted.
how big is your rooms gonna be?
They will be compliant. They're going to have some rooms that are, they're special, they're larger than they would be typically because of the ADA requirements. So they're working with architects that have worked with the licensing and senior services board to figure out what they need. But their goal is to have all rooms be able to kind of fit the whole continuum of care as people age in place, essentially.
So they're just gonna be mostly like hotel rooms?
No, they're studios, and
What's the difference between a studio and a hotel room? Can I?
well, I guess a studio would
going-
have like a little kitchen
Should
or
I?
refrigerator, or something along those lines. Whereas a hotel room, I mean, I guess some hotels have them, would typically just have your bedroom and bathroom.
Councilmember Wesche?
Are there any concerns with ambulance access going from Natural Bridge to the building? I know that private drive isn't the largest drive in the world. It's been a few years since India Palace was there, which would have been the last time I was at the building. So,
Same. I am not aware of any concerns that would obviously come up with any permitting or, the requirements for the renovations for this building. But the owner and their architect and planning have not considered that as an issue.
okay, thank you.
Councilmember Satel?
Yes, thank you. Before this opens up, you'll have every room finished. It won't just be partially open and moving steps and steps. You'll actually complete everything before anything becomes available?
My understanding of the timeline is to do the two-story buildings as the assisted living, and then the apartments will be phase 2, and that they would be doing those as more of a traditional multifamily, which would require the special use permit. I am not sure of the construction timeline, so I can't answer that question exactly, but I believe their intent is to get the entire facility up and running.
And will these then be rented like a hotel or motel?
We need to stay on track with questions regarding zoning.
Yeah, those really go beyond what's in front of the council
All right,
tonight.
that's all.
Councilmember Luther?
Yeah, please correct me if I go out of scope here. I have a question. Are you nonprofit or for-profit?
The
Can-
building owner is for-profit.
Okay. And then do you know, will you be accepting, and will you have any Medicaid beds?
I do not know. I do not believe that they're planning on market rate at this time for
Okay.
the level of care.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I see none. At this point, is there anybody in the audience that would like to come forward and speak in favor of this zoning change? I see none. Anybody in the audience that would like to speak against this zoning change? I see none. This recess for this public hearing is now closed. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item J. We have a sign variance before us this evening. It does say Councilmember Hine, but it is Councilmember Grimmer's ex officio assignment. So thank you. Mr. Grimmer.
Thank you, Chairman Hahn. I request approval of a sign variance for a wall sign regards application 24-0015 Gateway Children's Surgery Center, 12184 Natural Bridge Road.
Second.
Motion is made by Mr. Grimmer to request a variance for the wall sign, seconded by Councilmember Sittell. Any discussion?
I would like to add a few points here. I would refer the council to the packet that was furnished, particularly the last 3 pages. Basically, they have some very nice pictures in there that would explain or actually give a visual, a very accurate visual on what is proposed. In my opinion, that is totally compatible with the design and the character of that building. Per our specifications, the square footage of the sign does exceed that somewhat, but then the question becomes, what exactly and how do we figure our frontages? And at times, and in my experience on planning and zoning sometime, or design and review, I think the way we approach this needs to be updated because these issues continually come up. Again, my opinion, and in viewing of the things there, that sign is totally compatible with the design of that building. As the sign company points out, if we conform to the regulations that we currently have in place, the letters would be so small as to not be very much of a visibility from the streetscape of that and would impair people or impede people from finding that location accurately. So again, this is why I support this variance. I think it is worthy of approval.
Thank you. Councilmember Norris?
Thank you, Mayor. I am usually a purist on these signage, but in this case, if you look at the picture, whenever or whatever the surgical center, you can see the overlay that actually this sign will be smaller than what is the original. And it is in an awkward area. And so I would support this, but I do have a question. Can I ask, does anyone know, is this surgical center going all the way across where you see all those glass and is that the whole surgical center in the front? And why did they just put the sign at one end?
Mr. Gunn? Wait.
Oh, we need to suspend
Wait just a
rules.
minute. Mr. Gunn, do you have anything to say?
I believe the surgical center is just gonna be on the end corner, and if you look at that last, or one of the other pictures, they're just taking those 3 units on this side and just a little bit further over.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Councilmember Luther?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I was just noting that although they're asking for a variance for a sign that's beyond our specifications, it is smaller than the existing sign, so I too am in favor of that.
And Mr. Weshy?
If this is where I think it is, aren't there going to be apartments right across the street from where the sign is? So my only concern would be The current sign looks like it's a little bit older, so I'm going to go on an assumption here and assume it's not using LED technology. This new sign, having a lot of white space on it, and knowing that how much brighter LED technology is right now, is this going to be under the same rules that, let's say, the digital billboards are, to where they can only be so bright? My only concern would be if it could possibly impact somebody across the road. And if we don't have an answer to that, I would be okay with throwing it out there to suspend rules temporarily so the lady in the audience can come up and speak about it.
Second?
Motion's made to suspend council rules to bring up the petitioner's representative to answer questions, seconded by Mr. Sattel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please come forward, Ms. Mason.
They always have us get up when you say it, so I'm sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I'm sorry.
Please state your name and address for the city
Anita
clerk.
Mason, 4188 Tideland,
Did you say Anita?
Anita,
Okay.
ANITA.
thank you. Proceed.
You were asking about how much of the facility they're taking. As far as I know, they're just taking where the door goes in that one side to that window all the way to the front, and I think that little section there is where they're going to. Although he has the whole building showing, so I'm gonna take that back because he's showing the whole facility they're taking. On the picture, he's showing the whole facility as part of the facade, so that means they're taking that whole building. See how he's got the whole thing showing?
And can you answer Councilmember Wishy's question about the lighting?
Do you know how, if it's going to be incredibly bright? I know a lot of these newer signs get, now that LEDs are so prevalent.
The ones you'd have to really worry about are like the ones you guys put like in front of City Hall, the ones that flash and stuff. I mean, that right there is not gonna be any more than a regular iridescent sign, honestly. I mean, yes, it'll be a little brighter per se when it gets really cold outside and things like that. That's where the major difference is, and obviously the efficiency of the LED versus the light bulbs. So no, it's not really gonna affect anything. If anything, it's a smaller sign than the other, and the neon may have actually been a little brighter than the LED back in the day when it was first put up, because neon used to be pretty darn bright. So, yeah, so between the two, I don't think it'll be, no, I don't think it'll be a problem at all.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Luther?
Yeah, thank you for answering that. I think the distinction, you made the reference to the sign, the LED sign, is that it's not moving in any way.
No.
The other thing is that I paced out the sign that would have been, that is in front of, currently in front of the Bridgeton Recreation Center. That's about 100 feet from someone's front door. This is considerably farther than anyone's front door. So
Yeah.
just wanted to note that.
Yeah, it's a pretty good distance off, actually, it's a little bit off the road, actually. It's not like right there. It's probably, yeah, it's a good distance off the road. I'm not really getting footage off the road, but it's definitely not, just a jump off the road, yeah. It's gotta go a distance there.
Any other questions? I see none. Thank you, Ms. Mason.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Councilmember Wishy,
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer,
Aye.
Councilmember Patel. Aye. Councilmember Hein,
Aye.
Councilmember Luther,
Aye.
Councilmember Norris,
Aye.
Councilmember Hood,
Aye.
Councilmember Sattel.
Aye.
8-0.
The vote is 8 to nothing. The sign variance passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, emergency repair indoor pool HVAC systems. There's nothing here to discuss at this time. This will be discussed later during first consideration of bill number 6434 because it's a contract. So we'll move on to item number L, perfection of bills. Bill number 6430, Councilmember Hein. Thank you.
Or did they remove it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
bill
is
number
already-
6410 was removed from the agenda.
Yes.
So bill number 6430, motion for second reading
Second?
of bill number 6430.
Second?
I can't make that one. Oh, okay. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, application 24-PZ-02, amending the Bridgeton Code of Ordinances, section 410.13.130.d.2 to allow microbusiness wholesale facility as a permitted land use with a special use permit in the B2 Community Business District. Like to make a motion that bill number 6430 become ordinance number 24-19.
Second?
Bill number 6430 was made to be motion 6419. Any discussion? Mr. Grimmer. Mr. Grimmer, Councilmember Grimmer.
Well, you know, I am not opposed to this particular, to the micro businesses. They are, of course, the marijuana businesses. They are illegal. The state of Missouri has legalized the sale of marijuana. And of course, that means that all the businesses more or less are legalized and legitimate. However, it's just in this particular case, I'm aware that this is the first step in relocating to a facility that, as you recall, the last piece of business we did here was to approve a sign for the Children's Surgical Center. The reason we have zoning and the essence of a city's ability to control where businesses, different types of business go, this is it right here. This comes right down to this. It's just a matter of location. And in this particular case, I think that permitting the micro businesses in the B2 is just not what we're trying to do. A lot of B2s there's residential facilities adjacent or residences adjacent to some of this B2 zoning. And as a result, we have restrictions that would limit the scope of the type of businesses that we allow in B2. And I think that the reasoning was good when this was originated. It's still good now. And therefore, I will not support this because of the fact that I think it goes against what we're trying to do here in the city is regulate what type of business is going, where they're located, and it's a preservation of the character of the city. Thank you.
Councilmember Sattel.
Yes, thank you. This B2 also would have included a stretch of Lindbergh that I don't think needs to have anything potential like that too, so I'll be voting no on this as well. That's all.
Councilmember Wesche.
I have a feeling I'm going to be the lone one out on this one, but I'm actually in favor of this. And the reason why is whenever he was first applying for this was not going to be breaking the rules. Also, as far as I'm aware right now, they were asking about this before the Children's Surgical Center was even brought up to us, so I'm not actually going to bring that into consideration as one or the other. I also realize that this is not going to be something that we're saying all the time can happen. It's going to be something for a special use permit. So we will still, at our discretion, be able to say no to stuff in the future for this. Because of those three things, I'm actually for this.
Any other discussion or comments? Okay. Regarding bill number 6431 becoming ordinance 24-19, the clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Grimmer?
Nay.
Councilmember Patel?
Nay.
Councilmember Hein?
Nay.
Councilmember Luther?
Nay.
Councilmember Norris?
No.
Councilmember Hood?
Nay.
Councilmember Sattel?
Nay.
Councilmember Wesche?
Aye.
7-1.
By a vote of 1 aye and 7 nays, the bill and ordinance fail. Next item on the agenda is consideration of new bills. Bill number 6432. Councilmember Hein. Thank you.
What about 31?
I'm sorry, 6431. Councilmember Norris. It's still perfection of bills.
Thank you, Mayor. Move for second reading of bill number 6431.
Second.
Motion's made for second reading of bill number 6431 by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood. Proceed.
Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please proceed.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the acting mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies, acronym CALEA, in the amount of $11,450 for the first 3 years of the self-assessed period. Move that bill number 6431 become ordinance 2419.
Correct.
Second.
Motion's made for bill number 6431 to become ordinance 24-19 by Councilmember Norris, seconded by Councilmember Hood. Any discussion? Councilmember Grimmer.
Well, I would, at the last meeting, I believe, Captain Steve Wooten gave us an excellent summary of what CALEA was all about and why it's so important. So I totally support this. This is just, I consider good policy for the city, good policy for our police department. I totally support this.
Thank you. Councilmember Norris?
Yes, sir, I just wanted to also will support this. It's an honor and a privilege that we're able to do this, and our police department will get this accreditation. This will put us in definitely a higher award or, distinction with other police departments. And again, there is no budget. This comes out of, I don't want to say drug money, but it's money from, but we do not have to pay for this. So we're real pleased with this. So I know it's going to be a lot of work, but it will bring such a great honor for our police department, and I'm just real pleased. Thank you.
Councilmember Hood.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm proud of the work that they're doing, and this is going to be a great thing when they get it accomplished.
Thank you. Any further discussion? The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Patel?
Aye.
Councilmember Hein?
Aye.
Councilmember Luther?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Aye.
Councilmember Hood?
Aye.
Councilmember Satel?
Aye.
Councilmember Wishy?
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer?
Aye.
By a vote of 8-0, bill number 6431 becomes ordinance 24-19. Consideration of new bills, bill number 6413, Councilmember Hein. Thank you.
That's 32.
6432. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, application 24,
Move for
first reading. Move for first reading of bill number 6432.
Second.
Motion made by Councilmember Hein for first reading, seconded by Councilmember Luther for second. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, application 24PZ-03, amending the Bridgeton Code of Ordinances, Appendix 5-I, Planned Commercial District B5R 4530 North Lindbergh Boulevard to allow long-term care facility with independent senior 55-plus living apartments as a permitted land use. Motion to table bill number 6432.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Bill number 6432 is tabled. Next item is bill number 6433. Councilmember Grimmer.
Thank you, Chairman. Move for first reading of bill number 6433.
Second.
Motion made for first reading of bill number 6433 by Councilmember Grimmer, seconded by Councilmember Satel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Proceed.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with MACC Contracting, Inc. for the ground maintenance services at the Carrollton Park Disc Golf Course in the amount of $36,000. Move to table bill number 6433.
Second.
Motion made to table bill number 6433. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Bill number 6433 is tabled. Next item is bill number 6434. First consideration, again, Councilmember Grimmer.
Yes, move for first reading of bill number 6434.
Second.
Motion made for first reading by Councilmember Grimmer, 6434, seconded by Councilmember Sattel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please proceed.
An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the acting mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with Wegman Associates for emergency indoor pool HVAC repairs at the Recreation Center in the amount of $20,367. Move to remove bill number 6434 from the table for second consideration.
Suspend council.
Excuse me, move to suspend council rules for second reading of the
Second.
bill.
Motion's made by Councilmember Grimmer to suspend council rules for second reading of bill number 6434, seconded by Councilmember Sattel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please proceed.
The reason I'm asking for a second on this is you can see it's an emergency repair to the indoor pool. The quicker we can move this forward, I think it's gonna behoove the folks trying to get the repairs done.
So now we just need a motion for second.
I
Motion for second reading.
move that,
Mr. Grimmer.
move for second reading of bill number 6434.
Second.
Motion is made for second reading of bill number 6434 by Councilmember Grimmer, seconded by Councilmember Sattel. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Please proceed.
An ordinance of the City Council, City of Bridgeton, Missouri, authorizing the acting mayor and city clerk to execute an agreement substantially in the form attached hereto with Wegman Associates for emergency indoor pool HVAC repairs at the recreational center in the amount of $20,367.
Second?
He's gonna make a motion for, he's still got,
Move that bill number 6434 become ordinance number 24-20.
second.
Motion is made by Councilmember Grimmer that bill number 6434 become ordinance 24-20, seconded by Councilmember Sattel. Any discussion? The clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Luther?
Aye.
Councilmember Norris?
Aye.
Councilmember Hood?
Aye.
Councilmember Sattel?
Aye.
Councilmember Weshy?
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer?
Aye.
Councilmember Patel?
Aye.
Councilmember Hines?
Aye. Bill number 6434 has become ordinance 24-19.
20.
20, isn't it?
2420.
2420, I'm sorry.
2420.
Next item is discussion items. We have none. Next item, attorney's report.
I have nothing, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Council communications. I'll start with Councilmember Grimmer.
All right, thank you. Chairman Hine. First of all, I'd like to announce that the preceding Wednesday, we had a combined wards 1 and 2 right here in these chambers. It was a very, very good meeting, and probably and undoubtedly, let's say the highlight was that both mayoral candidates agreed to make short presentations, which they did, and we took a few questions, but it was an excellent chance for a lot of the folks in attendance to get a close-up look at both the mayoral candidates and some of their visions for the city. And again, the ward meetings are always, I think we try to make them informative, and wards 1 and 2, I think they certainly got their money's worth at that meeting, so kudos to all the folks that attended. At the design and review meeting, which was just held yesterday or last night, here again in these chambers, let's see, we approved a residential fence on Haas Avenue. We approved a commercial fence on Fifi. We recommended a wall sign variance And let's see, we had approved a design for a storage shed. All these things are kind of, seem kind of mundane and routine, but they have to be done. And we're very fortunate in having a good design and review committee that takes a closer look at these things and makes appropriate recommendations to council when necessary. And I'd just like to make some comments here. I've lived now in Bridgeton for about more than 36 years, and it's really a unique place where we're kind of a highly urbanized community, and yet where I live, I can walk one block into a wide boulevard, which is Avery Lane there, and walk on a nicely paved sidewalk, and less than a block from my home, I can get off that sidewalk a little bit and have my dog go nose to nose with cows. Okay, there's probably not a lot of communities that you can do that type of things, and Bridgeton is just filled with these little unique areas, wooded areas and so forth that really make this community kind of unique. So, I've been fortunate to travel a little bit, seen a lot of communities, and it'd be hard to get me to move from a place. I just enjoy living here so much, and that's where I try to do a little bit of work, and the rest of the folks up here to keep this community, what we've done and what we've built over these years. And I think there's a lot of positive ahead of us, and I'm certainly gonna work to keep it that way, and I think all the rest of us up here probably feel the same way. Thank you.
Councilmember Patel
Nothing.
has nothing. Thank you. Councilmember Sotto.
Thank you. I agree with what Mr. Grimmer just said about our ward meeting. I think it went along excellent for wards 1 and 2 and our citizens that showed up. We also invited any residents from 3 and 4, since the candidates for mayor were from 3 and 4, so we did have a good representation of a widespread of the city. Don't normally get that many people show up for Ward 1, but it was a pretty good attendance. Yesterday, obviously, everybody knows was election day. I'd like to compliment on how well I thought that everybody got along at the polling places. It seems like everybody, like we want to see here, can be friendly in this community, even if you are on the opposition of a topic or an item. And so I want to compliment kudos to everybody that behaved themselves during the daytime yesterday, even though it was pretty cold and chilly. So with that said, I'd also like to just thank the citizens that reached out in Ward 1 and decided to vote for me to take over and keep going as their councilman, getting ready to serve my 8th two-year term. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Weshing.
I want to thank everybody that made it out yesterday to vote. I want to say thank you to you. I will say I'm a little bit disappointed that Prop C didn't pass. I'm definitely a bit worried about what's going to happen whenever Judge LaRue has to step down because of age. And the idea that literally anybody that runs against, if somebody runs unopposed, they're just automatically going to win it now is definitely a source of anxiety. So hopefully, as a council, we can figure out something to do to try and prevent that from happening over the next couple years here. But the people that did come out, thank you very much for voting.
Thank you. Councilmember Hood.
Yes, I just want to say congratulations that everybody got reelected. And I am very proud of the way we work together and to keep this city moving forward. Thank you.
Councilmember Norris.
Thank you very much. I'll reiterate congratulations to all the council wins in last night's election. And I really appreciate and thank the residents on the charter committee. They went through a lot. They were trying to do the best thing for Bridgeton. They worked very hard, and I am very pleased. And also, I am worried about C, but we will figure it out. They did their commitment to our city was unbelievable. I want to thank them. They love our city very much. I do have a couple questions. Sure. Robert, Mr. Gunn, I'm sorry. Are the streets finished in Harmon Estates? And there is a reminder, we do have another election, Friday, April the 12th, 2024. And also, Robert, do we have any other, or, I'm sorry, Mr. Gunn, did we have any damage during the storms? And Mr. Gunn, I am confused about something about our trash. I see a lot, when our contract was signed, isn't it one trash, one recycling, and of course unlimited on our yard waste? I see 3 and 4 trash cans per person. Do they pay more? I just was wondering, I mean, I didn't know our contract, or do they just pick them up? I was just wondering, I mean, I know it's very costly, and I thought that was part of the contract, and that's what was keeping our contract down because of the 111. So if you can give me an answer to that, or you can get back with me. Thank you.
Councilmember Luther.
Thank you, Mayor. First, some thank yous. Terrific turnout yesterday. Not the best weather, so thanks to the voters. I want to thank the candidates. We have some here, sitting up here as well. Thank you. Congratulations to those who are newly elected and those involved in preparing other items on the ballot. Thank you very, very much. So this year, I've been joking. I'm looking back at Nancy there. You can vote early this year. And although you can't vote often, you can vote twice. So April 12th is the second time to vote. Doesn't happen very often. Kind of like leap year, right? And I would be remiss, and Mr. Gunn, I'm looking at you because last year I think when we got nice weather, we haven't had nice weather, and rain, you had 27 pages of high grass reports or something like that. So this is a comment from the Code Ordinance Violation Enforcement Committee, a reminder that when it does get nice again, don't let your grass get too high. So that's it.
Thank you. Staff reports. Mr. Kane, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you, council, for the double reading on the HVAC repairs tonight. With the warmer temperatures around the corner, we wanted to get that done as quickly as possible to avoid any interruptions in programs or services. The second annual Arbor Day celebration, the Parks Department will be hosting that on Friday, April 19th at 11 a.m. That'll be at Bridgeway Park. The Bridgeway Elementary School fourth graders will be in attendance for that celebration. They'll make it their little field trip for the end of the year. We'll be giving away 50 sapling trees and planting a tree in memory of the late Mayor Briggs as well. So hopefully everybody can make it. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief?
I just wanted to thank the council for the approval of allowing us to move into the CALIA process. It really is an important step forward for the department. I know my staff's excited to get started on it. Those standards will take us well into the future and make sure that we continue to maintain not only local standards but also national standards. So thank you for that. Just wanted to give a reminder that the prescription drug take-back day is going to be on Saturday, April 27th. That's at 10 to 2 p.m. The event's going to be again on the Government Center parking lot. Just wanted to pass that along. So if you have anything in the cabinets that needs to be disposed of, please bring those up on that date. Also, the police department's participating in a statewide seatbelt enforcement campaign. We've joined that campaign with other law enforcement agencies across the state. That runs from April 1st through the 15th. It's for high visibility use seatbelt mobilization to help increase the usage amongst teens. So local motorists should be prepared for stepped up seatbelt enforcement during that time period. Just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Mr. Gunn?
Answers to a few of the questions. As far as the roads go, we were down to just the last 30 feet of sidewalk today before the rain got us. So we just need Mother Nature to cooperate one more day. We'll knock out the rest of that sidewalk, and that project will be done for the year. Storm damage, I don't know of any storm damage that we have as far as large trees or anything like that coming down. But if you do know of anything, report that to Public Works. We'll get them on the list. As far as the trash cans, basically, yes, we should be automated with solid waste pickup. Now, if there's residents that are still putting cans out and the trash company is gracious enough to keep picking those up, that's on the trash company. We're not paying anything extra for those. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Bookout?
Yes, it's the time of year that staff begins working with our outside auditor, the Sikich, and I know some of you have gotten some calls and there's been some random questionnaires sent out. They've asked me to urge you to get those in by the 15th so they can start the work on that. There has been some documents on the statements of work provided in your mailbox, so you should all have information on that. If you've got any questions, feel free to give us a call, but just wanted to let you know that that's going to start ramping up and the city's going to be working with our outside auditor. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. The mayor's report, of course, congratulations to the council members that were re-elected yesterday. Also, thank you, Mr. Bezada, for your competition. Looking forward to you getting more involved with the city, and hope we can get some more people that want to get more involved also, because we all won't be here forever. So the more we can get people educated right away, or as quickly as possible, the better off we'll be in the future. So also, I want to congratulate our city clerk. She was newly elected to city council on Blackjack Municipality. Congratulations, Karen.
Thank you.
And I believe the plant giveaway is April 27th also. It is earlier than 10. I believe it starts at 8:30 or 9, and usually it only lasts about an hour. So anybody wanting to go up and pick up a plant and then bring your prescription drugs, or I think there's no excuse, no questions asked. If you have anything you want to contribute to the drug take-back day, you can do that. So that's a good program. It's done twice a year here in the city, and it's done in conjunction with the DEA. Thank you, Officer Dean, for being with us tonight also. And thank you, audience, for being here. Thanks for putting up with me. I'm still getting used to getting the agenda correct here, and I appreciate your patience with me. With that, I want to say please exercise your right to vote a week from Friday on April the 12th. And we need to, at this time, make a motion. Somebody needs to make a motion to move into closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Would you like me to state the motion?
Okay.
So the motion would be to hold a closed session for the purpose of discussing matters relating to a negotiated contract pursuant to section 610.021 subsection 12 RSMO.
Second.
Second?
Well, that's, yeah, so that's your motion,
okay.
Ms. Luther?
Okay.
Is that right? Yeah, thank you.
I'll second that.
Very good. Motion made by Councilmember Luther, seconded by Councilmember Hood. We're going to go into closed session. It might be a few minutes. You're welcome to stay if you like, but when we're finished, we'll come out and continue and close the regular council meeting. I think I need roll call vote to go into closed session.
Yes.
Councilmember Norris.
Aye.
Councilmember Hood.
Aye.
Councilmember Satel.
Aye.
Councilmember Wishy.
Aye.
Councilmember Grimmer.
Aye.
Councilmember Patel.
Aye.
Councilmember Hein.
Aye.
Councilmember Luther.
Aye.
By a vote of 8-0, we've moved to go into closed session. Thank you.